I think it's so futile to spend your time thinking about the suffering when you could be thinking about the blessing. Hey, welcome back to the Unshaken podcast. I think that's the first time I've said this. Welcome back! Welcome or welcome back if you are new. This is the Unshaken podcast. I'm your host, Lola Bella. I'm so excited to have you guys here. I'm so grateful. You're returning for week 3. What? How has it already been almost a month? That's insane. I had my 18th birthday. Oh my god. I feel like Rapunzel. I saw the lights. You know, my birthday is near firework night, so on my birthday there's always fireworks. So I literally felt like Rapunzel. I was turning 18, I was seeing the lights. I really hope you guys can't hear my stomach rumbling. It was amazing. The episode today is gonna be a little bit more personal. In spirit of me turning 18, I'm gonna give you guys basically my rundown of life so far and my top 10 things that I have learned since turning 18. Top 10 things that I learned going through childhood, being a baby, being a child, being a tween, being a teenager. I can safely say, now that I've been through all stages of childhood, being a tween is the worst age. I've been through it. I watched my older brother go through it. I'm watching my younger siblings go through it. Being a tween is the worst. You have no idea what you are. Like the word tween isn't even a real word. Like you don't even know what you are. You're not a child because you're too grown up to be treated like, you know, a 10-year-old, but you're too young to be treated like a teenager. So you're like between the ages of 11 and 13, I would say, because I don't really think you're really even a teenager at 13 yet. You still feel like a baba. So I would say like between the ages of 10 to 13, 11 to 13, it is the most awkward stages of your life. You're trying to act older than you are, or from the opposite end, you're still trying to act younger. You get seen as just completely immature. You are starting to develop some more mature opinions, but I think when we're younger, when you're a tween, you still have like a skewed view of the world, so it's quite utopian. Yeah, it's quite utopian when you're younger. So your opinions are just very like simple, like there's good and there's bad, and like there's good people and there's bad people, but like most people are good, and like if you make good choices, you'll be fine. Like do you know what I mean? Like not super unconventional. But especially being quite an emotionally mature person. A lot of people would beg to differ, but I can promise you I am an emotionally mature person, and definitely for my age, I've always been told that I'm mature for my age. Do you guys know that Olivia Rodrigo song? It's like, when will I stop being wise beyond my years and just start being wise? That is literally a fear of mine because I've always been told that I'm wise for my age. What about when I get to like 20 and I still have the same opinions? Will I still be wise, or will I just suddenly be like stupid? Hello! Anyway, before we get into the bulk of the episode, I'm gonna tell you guys things I've been loving, okay? I've been really debating whether I wanna even tell you guys about this, but I've been obsessed with a music artist for, I wanna actually since summer. I haven't spoken about her, but I've been obsessed with her since summer. I've only told my mom about her because I'm really trying to gatekeep her, but her name is, I don't want to tell you. Her name is Xenadelphia. Xenadelphia. Yeah, her name is Xenadelphia. She, she's a blast from the past. She does like kind of disco music. I don't know. I would say she's very like Gloria Gaynor, like Nancy Sinatra. Like those are her kind of inspos. Um, she is amazing. She has an incredible voice. Like those pipes, girl. She has got pipes on her capital P. Definitely go listen to her music. She is amazing. She deserves all the clout. So I'm gonna stop gatekeeping her now. I'm still loving chai tea, obviously. I haven't baked sourdough yet. Guys, I'm embarrassed. I still haven't baked any sourdough. But it's okay. I've been obsessed with reading, but if you know me, you know I don't read. So I've actually just been obsessed with reading my Bible. Hello, should we get into it a little bit? I've literally been obsessed with reading my Bible. I only started reading the Bible in October, and I just think even if you're not religious, the Bible is such a fun book to read. Like it's such a great book. It's just a book full of love. Um, and I really come to the Bible from any perspective. I can come to the Bible from a secular perspective and I just want some advice on something. It's like Wikipedia. Like literally anything that you might go through, someone in here has been through it and they told the tale and you can learn from it. And we're gonna get onto that actually quite a lot in this episode. Not necessarily the Bible, but you know, going through things that a lot of other people have already been through. Um, so you don't even have to be religious to read the Bible and appreciate it. I really started reading the Bible out of curiosity because I was thinking like if this book has been a thing for so long, and if worship is something that as human beings we're inherently called to do, whether you worship money, you worship a god, whether you worship sex, pornography, smoking, you know, we all have our vices. As human beings, we are wired to worship. Whether you believe you worship something or not, I can guarantee you worship something, okay? Um, and I was just wondering because I watched a show very recently about these cavemen that used to travel through underground systems, and it would be through caves like literally yay tiny, and they would be, it sounds kind of weird, but they would drag their dead relatives or like dead bodies, they would take them through these tunnels, treacherous journeys, like life risking journeys, just to bury their relatives in this sacred area where they would bury them and they would draw religious pictures on the wall. They had drawn like religious caveman drawings on the walls and they would take them there and hold ceremonies for them and hold burials for them. I think some, I don't know what, I can't remember the name of the TV show, but some archaeologists discovered this area. It was through a bunch of caves and then it just comes like, you know, the entrance comes out into this big area and they found a bunch of remains there, like, you know, skeleton remains. And the pictures on the paintings on the wall and stuff. And I just think they don't have TikTok or Instagram. Do you know what I mean? Like, if religion has been, or worship, let's say, if worship has been a thing in our lives since yonks ago, there's gotta be something there. There's gotta be some meat there. So I'm very curious, and naturally, you will tell from this podcast, I'm just somebody that wants to know the truth about everything. Let me pop a little, this isn't sponsored, guys, but Ground News is insane. Like, please go download Ground News. I love Ground News so much. They are basically a source where you can get all of your news articles, all of your information. It's like a Wikipedia. Any podcast episode that I will post, I've used Ground News for. Um, Not sponsored, but please sponsor me. Um, and they basically will post articles on there. So like some news anchors and news companies that are a little bit more left leaning, and then they'll compare that same issue with articles from a right leaning side. So you can get both perspectives. And then they have a section called the blind spot, where if you are a little bit more right leaning, you might not have seen these articles. Like if you mostly get your information from right leaning or central right news branches, you might not have seen this issue because they haven't reported on it. So it's like a blind spot where only maybe the left have reported on it, and you can see the percentage of, you know, how far left they are, how far centre they are, and what the different articles look like, and you can compare it. And they also compare it for you, so it's just very handy dandy. So yeah, recently I've been loving Xenodelphia, Ground News, reading my Bible. I've been really getting in the festive mood, guys. I've been actually trying not to, but I catch myself singing Christmas music. I've already watched Love Actually. I really want to watch a Christmas movie tonight, and I guarantee you I will. I'm wearing Christmas pajamas. Like I'm already sleeping with fuzzy socks on. I've been obsessed. Is this burgundy? I've been obsessed with this like wine red color. I got it on my nails, but they came off. Um, I've got loads of clothes with this color now. I don't know what's happening to me. So that is definitely another thing that I've been obsessed with is this color. I'm obsessed with it. Enough about me. Now let's talk about me. Okay. Joking, obviously, guys. Okay. But I have my little list of things for us to talk about. I've kind of been making this list over the past couple days, just things that I think of, and it was very difficult actually to narrow down 18 years of experience and trials and tribulations to 10 bullet points. We do have a bonus on here, okay? So I guess technically it's 11, but I'm giving you 10 and then a little bonus one at the end, okay? Jumping in at number 1, we're going to kick it off with a strong one. You are not your mistakes, you are not your thoughts. This is a very basic, like well-known, I guess, mantra to kick us off, but I think we all need a reminder sometimes. It's very different to take accountability. It's very different to take accountability for your mistakes and to tie those mistakes to you as a person. Just because they've taught you something or you've learned something from your mistakes, it doesn't mean that you have to cling to them. If anything, we should rejoice and be grateful that we've learned from them and then move on. Move on, guys. Like it happened. It happened. You made a mistake, it happened. And feeling guilty won't change anything except solidify the worm in your brain telling you that you have to live with the weight of your mistake, or you have to live with the guilt and the pain of doing something wrong. I think there's such a negative stigma around doing something wrong in our society. Like you have to get everything right all the time, and especially with being a kid, you don't know everything yet. You haven't had enough experience to know what to do in every situation. And it will be like that throughout life. You will never have enough experience to know what to do in every single situation. That doesn't mean that situation's never happened before. It just means you've never come across that situation before. But there are always going to be other people that have. As for your thoughts, from my own perspective, I know that thoughts can be and will be implanted in your mind by the enemy, especially if it sounds like your own voice. That's how he breaks you down. That's how he breaks down your self-worth and your self-esteem and drives you to sin. Because as soon as you are detached from God, and the quicker that the enemy can get in there and put a little like seed and plant a little seed in your brain of doubt and, you know, make your faith waver, that's how he leads us to sin. If you want to look at it from a secular perspective, because I know that not everybody aligns with God or worshipping a religion, etc., etc. If you'd rather look at it from a secular perspective, it's clear to anyone who tries. You can try. I promise you, I guarantee you. No matter how hard you try, you cannot control your thoughts. They are often involuntary, sometimes good, but sometimes bad. And just because you have a thought doesn't mean it's a desire or a belief that you have to hold yourself to. You can let thoughts pass and you can let them go and feel no guilt for them. Sometimes, like, I know that other people experience this where you are walking across a bridge, or you're walking next to the train tracks. Maybe you're on a platform, you're walking next to the train tracks. There's an old lady in front of you. You get a thought, what if I pushed her off? What if she fell onto the train tracks as the train was coming? That doesn't mean that you're a terrible human being and you want that woman to get hit by a train. Hello? Like, can we clock it for a second? That does not mean you're a terrible person. You shouldn't feel guilty for thinking that, because everybody has those intrusive thoughts that are planted in your brain. And you can let those thoughts pass. You can think, okay, that's a nothing. I tell myself that's a nothing. It's a nothing thought, because there's no actual belief or moral or value behind those thoughts. When you have purposeful thoughts, you will know, because there's an emotion driving it, there's a belief driving it, there's an inherent value that you hold driving that thought. That's how we get ideas, that's how we get our instincts. You know, there is a difference. And when you are more emotionally mature and you're able to, I guess, control your emotions, it's easier to spot that and then just to let it pass and not feel guilty for it. When you're going through darkness, be the light in someone else's life. That may sound like a bit of a oxymoron, I guess, but not only does giving to others make their day and make their life better, but it sets off a reward system in our brain and gives you a rush of dopamine and serotonin and all those happy hormones, and it makes you equally as happy. I always find when I'm upset or angry or stressed out, I always find when I'm upset or angry or stressed out, sitting in and spending time with myself in that feeling never makes me feel better. You're essentially sitting in the sulk and validating that negativity that's weighing on your chest and weighing on your heart. I always find when I'm angry or upset or I'm stressed out, sitting in that feeling and spending time with myself in that feeling for too long will never make me feel better. You're essentially sitting in the sulk. I like to call it sitting in the sulk and validating that negative feeling. And while it's important to acknowledge and recognize when you're feeling a certain way and not to suppress it, it's just as essential to know how to let that feeling go. When I pour into others and I spend time with my family, bless someone else, even if it's just texting your friend, have a great day, or buying your coworker or peer a coffee for their morning, get them started in the right way. Even if you're just grabbing a piece of bread on your way out and feeding birds as you walk to school, it can be something so simple, but I 100% will die on the hill that doing good makes you feel good. And the best thing you can do for yourself is give light to others. You're strengthening your relationships with other people. You're strengthening that moral fiber and morality in your soul. It's not like you're, sat in a sense of pride because, oh, look at me, I'm doing a good thing. Like, no, actually, it sets off that reward system in your brain and makes you feel good for doing a good thing. If you're feeling crap, the best thing to do is help others. Hello, be charitable. It will make you feel good. It will help you see the purpose in living and the purpose in being surrounded by other people. And giving light to others does not, categorically does not take away from your light. If you're giving light to others in a sense from a place of peace, it will not take away your light. It just multiplies the fire and makes every other candle warm, but it doesn't take away at all from the energy and the fire and the light from this candle. Does that make sense? Equally, on the other side, if you are struggling, sharing that struggle with other people, as long as they're trustworthy people, which we will talk about trust, will completely lighten your load, it will completely lighten your mood, and it will help to pull yourself out, help to pull you out of a sulk, help to pull you out of a rut, out of suffering. When you get that outside perspective, having gratitude for the suffering, which I think we can tie to the second one, I think they blend into each other quite nicely. You will never know what happiness and blessings feel like or recognize when you have them in your life if you don't first go through equal amount of suffering or hardships. Rejoice and be glad that you have obstacles in your life that you can overcome and see the light at the end of the tunnel. God will never ever give you a hardship or an obstacle that you cannot overcome or something that is not going to add value to your life. Even if you don't believe in God, in a secular way of looking at it, it could just be the rain has to come before the rainbow. Or, rain comes before the sunshine and then there's a rainbow. Not only does suffering teach us so much about ourselves and how far we can be pushed, how deep we can dig, but it's also deeply humbling to suffer. Human beings are inherently proud creatures, but when we are reminded of our mortality and reminded of the suffering, it helps us in order to be grateful for the life we've been blessed with. Because if you're living, you've been blessed. Out of, what is it, like millions and millions of sperm connecting to that one egg and forming that unique DNA, you were born. Rejoice and be glad. Rejoice and be grateful that you were born. You're here with us. Like, you have such potential in this world, and I think it's so futile to spend your time thinking about the suffering when you could be thinking about the blessing. This is a little bit of a hard truth, okay? But we're going to hit you with number 4. You are 100% responsible for your own life. Let me say it one more time for the people in the back. You are 100% responsible for your own life. It's a bit of a hard truth, but you are only a victim by mindset. Hello, duh. You're only a victim by mindset. Especially if you're listening to this podcast, if you're watching this podcast on your phone or TV or whatever, you most likely have a roof over your head, food in your fridge, and loving people around you. And if you don't have loving people around you, you can know that there's always someone that loves you, okay? I love you. I have so much love for everybody, especially if you're watching this podcast, but I have so much love for everybody. I love you, okay? And God loves you too. I get so icky wicky. I get so icky about talking about God on the podcast, even though it's my podcast, hello. But I get so like funny about it because I don't want anyone to feel excluded. But also, like, I'm so happy, and this makes me so happy. So if you're curious about it, like, literally deep dive into the Bible because it's amazing. I love God. Anyway, I digress. I suffer, okay? I do suffer. I have had sufferings in my life. I will continue to have struggles and have things in my life that will happen to me. I could choose to take those temporary things and make it a part of my personality and attach them to who I am and allow myself to be oppressed by that. It's completely a choice whether you allow external factors to affect your mindset and become a victim of your trials. I've had to learn through my life that I can either be defined by my suffering and oppression, or I can be defined by my blessings and opportunities. You need to ask yourself, what can one person do in this world that I can't do too? You can say, oh, I grew up in poverty, my parents want me to have a certain career and I don't have a choice. Or I wasn't born with this talent, so I can't pursue this one thing. Oh, I'm a woman, I'm at a disadvantage. If you want it bad enough, you will find a way to make it happen. At the end of the day, you're going to look back on your life and think, I wish I did that. You can do it. You can do it. You can do it. If you want something, if you want to say something, if you want to do something, if you want to be something, get up and do it. Be the change you wish to see in the world. Wasn't that like Mahatma Gandhi or something? Or like Buddha? It was one of those spiritual people. Basically, my point is, you're the only one in your own way. And maybe I haven't been in your unique position, but I can guarantee you that there is not one thing you will go through that someone else hasn't already been through. We talked about this in the intro. There is not a single situation or experience that you can go through that someone else hasn't already been through and overcome it. And that's not to invalidate your experience or to invalidate your feelings. That should empower you, knowing that there's always going to be a way out. But whatever happens, you are 100% responsible for your own life. Not your parents, not your partner, not your teachers, you. So do the scary thing, take the first scary step. That is getting you halfway there already. As soon as you make that decision and you have that intention and you make that step, I'm not talking about, you have this dream of being a painter and you have the intention of doing so, but you don't actually take any steps. No, 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 no. We're not going to do that. We're not going to do that, okay? Be the change that you want to see in your life because it starts with you. You're the only one in your way. You are 100% responsible for how your life has gone when you're on your deathbed. You don't want to look back and think that, oh, I regret doing all that. There is so much that I regret not doing. You don't want to look back on your life and think, oh, I regret not doing that. Or I regret not talking to that guy. I regret not stepping out of my comfort zone and going to that class. Or I regret not auditioning to be in that show. I have missed so many opportunities in my life. I know at the end of the day that I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be and that there is a plan for my life. But I have missed so many opportunities in my life from being scared or thinking, oh, I can't do that because I'm not talented enough, or I can't do that because I'm not smart enough, or I'm too young to do that, or, it's scary and I don't want to do that scary thing, or I just don't have the right opportunities. I don't have the right circumstances to do that. Stop right there. What you're doing is making excuses. It's harsh, but it's true. You are the only one that can make those changes. You're the only one that can take responsibility and take accountability for how your life goes. And once again, that should be freeing to you, because as soon as you overcome up here and you listen to here and you listen to your soul, as soon as you overcome that, you can literally do anything. You can do anything. I know when people say it, it sounds like a silly, like, fairy tale thing. You actually can do anything you want to do. You can do anything you want to do, especially if you are living in a country like the UK or the US. If you're living in a Western country, it's basically fed to you. It's basically fed to you. We have so much freedom and we have so much opportunity. I mean, at the moment, the UK is going on a little bit of a decline. But the fact that I'm able to sit here and share my opinions with you guys so easily with a camera and a mic. Did I mention I got a mic? I don't know, you've probably already seen it, but I'm really stoked about it, guys. The fact that I'm able to sit here in such a beautiful house with heating, I've got a camera and a mic, and I can just post my opinions freely on the internet. You have so much freedom. You don't even realize it. So take advantage of it. Coming in at number 5, we're being a little bit more specific for this one. Having a boyfriend as a teenager should not be a priority. Whoa! Is that kind of new? Is that kind of controversial? Not really. I think it's quite a well-known thing. But this is a concept that I was literally obsessed with. Having a boyfriend, I was literally, regrettably, I want to say I was obsessed with it for like maybe my whole life. I don't know. I've always been a lover girl. Like, I've just always been quite a thought daughter. I've always been a lover girl. I've always wanted someone to pour into. I think maybe growing up as a daughter of a single mom, I always wanted someone in my life, I maybe to fill that. I mean, until I was 10, I had a single mom, and then obviously my mom met my amazing stepdad. Um, but I've always been someone that felt like I've always felt like I need someone, and it's just not true. Now I know, and I've come out of that, and I've grown myself, and I think maybe like not having very good luck with boys as a young girl helped me to see you are so much more than a relationship. I've probably only ever had one relationship that counts, and I can tell you majority of what came from it was hurt for both sides, for both of us. I believe that everything happens for a reason, and I'm so grateful that I got to know this guy, that we had that experience, and that we got to basically, like, we almost grew up together. But so much could have been avoided. But so much could be avoided when you're older, and when you have more emotional maturity, you have more experience, and you know how to look after another human being. In my opinion, the 3 most important things from, I want to say, the ages of 10 to 17, possibly like the most formative years of your life, the only things that you should be worried about are the 3 F's. Okay, the 3 F's: family, friendship, and finding yourself. I know the third one is 2 words, okay? Stay with me. Family, friendship, finding yourself. I can guarantee you right now, from all the experience that I've had and all the experience that I've seen from other people in my life, other people I've spoken to, if you get a boyfriend or you pour into having a romantic relationship from the ages of 10 to 17, you will struggle so much with finding out who you are as a person. Instead of spending those essential years of development finding out what you love, the friends you get along with best, you'll spend them yearning and pining for something you're not actually ready for. At that age, you don't even know how to care for or control your own emotions, let alone caring for someone else's. You'll end up hurting yourself and the person that you're involved with because we don't yet have the capacity to make space for another person's set of emotions. While there may be some anomalies of couples meeting at like 15, 16, say, and then spending the rest of their lives together and getting married and having kids, I know that that happens because one of my best friends is a product of a relationship, and they literally met at like 15, 16 years old, got married young, and had their two kids, my friend and her little brother. And that's amazing. Um that's like a fairy tale relationship and a fairy tale story that you get to tell your kids. But it is an anomaly. I can promise you the vast majority of relationships when you're young will not go that way. And the amount of girls and guys that I have spoken to who have had relationships or been in relationships from a very young age and now at like 18, 20, 25 years old don't really know who they are without someone next to them. You will fall into that trap of constantly needing someone next to you to fill that space that you should have saved for your self love. I can admit right now, I've had terrible luck with relationships. So maybe I can't speak from the perspective of someone who's had a long term relationship at a young age and how that's affected me, but I can speak from what other people have told me, and I can speak from my own experience, which is I think I got a good sense of both sides. It's just too much for you to handle when you're young. It's so much to handle. You're trying to act so much bigger and so much more grown up than you actually are. You're not ready for that. You need to be pouring into your connections with your family. And family doesn't just mean blood, by the way. Your family can be people that aren't just your blood. You do get to choose family a lot of the time. But you need to pour into your family, you need to pour into your friends, and most of all, you need to pour into finding out who you are. I am so strong in who I am now because I spent those formative years focusing on the consistent things in your life. And the only consistent thing in your life is you. Number 6, you can always start again. This is a pretty short and sweet one. It's very simple. I don't think it needs explanation really. There's zero shame in starting over. Even starting over right now, you can count down with me. 3, 2, 1. You can just start over. You can change your mind. There's such a negative stigma around changing your mind on things. You can change your mind all the time. I do it. I change my mind all the time. And you don't have to make everyone else understand what's going on in your mind. You can just change your mind, and if it comes up, then you tell someone, oh, I've changed my mind about that actually. I don't believe that anymore. You don't have to constantly be telling people, by the way, I don't believe that. By the way, I actually want to do this with my life instead. You can just change your mind and let people misunderstand you. It's the let them theory, and it really works, trust me. But we're getting sidetracked. Maybe starting over from fresh in the space of 3 seconds takes a little bit of delulu, but a wise girl once said, Delulu is the Salulu, and I live by that. I'm not kidding, I live by that. You can decide right now, I'm done feeling this way. I'm done walking this path. I want to go somewhere else, and I want to change my attitude. I want to change my mind. Whatever it is, you can decide. Because remember, 100% responsible for your own life. You get to decide to take a deep breath, count to 5, and start over. Number 7. This is one of my favorite ones. This is my favorite mantra. Misery loves company. Can I get an amen? Misery loves company, guys. Do you ever wonder why you get infected by someone else's groveling or misery? Why it's so hard to not gossip or talk shit about someone? or just on the whole, why it's so easy to slip into negativity when someone else introduces it? Because misery loves company. Clock it. Misery and complaining is so infectious in our society now. It's just so normalized to complain. When you don't have something in common with someone, I feel like, especially as English people, we do tend to be quite polite as just a community. But you can always be safe in the knowledge that they'll complain about the weather with you. Whether you've met them 2 seconds ago or you've known them your whole life, if it's any time that isn't. Actually, even when it's hot, we like to complain. Why do we complain about everything, guys? Like, why can't we just be grateful instead? I don't know. But you can rest easy in the knowledge that someone will be there to complain with you. Or if you and your friend run out of things to talk about, which often now that we have our phones surrounding every social interaction, we do run out of things to talk about because attention span and thinking for ourselves is just gone. You can rely on the fact that your friend will be so ready to gossip about a girl at school who's dating who's lost weight, who's gained weight, who's got acne, etc. Admittedly, I find myself so guilty of this all the time because it's almost frowned upon to shift the conversation away from complaining. If my friend comes to me with like an Insta pic of a girl she doesn't like, or maybe someone who's done wrong by me and been, I guess, talking crap about them, like, oh, look at this photo, ooh, she's gained so much weight, blah, blah, blah. You almost feel obligated to match their energy and be like, oh, yeah, she's gained weight. No revenge because look at her acne. No revenge because her boyfriend cheated. One of the hardest things is to shift that narrative and shift that energy away from something negative and shift it to something positive. Better yet, telling your friend, co worker, another student, etc., to take accountability for their attitude. It's a mark of maturity when you can come from a place of love and not self righteousness and say, I get you don't like this girl, or she's done wrong to you or me, etc. But it won't make us feel any better by gossiping or talking shit. I hope she's really happy. She looks beautiful in that photo. I pray life treats her well and brings her peace. When you're not coming from a place of pride and you're actually coming from a place of love and light and self peace, saying something like that and shifting the narrative like that feels so much better. Does that not feel so much better to you guys? I don't know, maybe it's just me, but number 8, trust. We talked about trust earlier. We're circling back to her. Okay, trust is a rare gift. Do not take it for granted. When someone feels so close to you and so comfortable with you that they can open up and be vulnerable and trust you with their heart, that is something you should not take for granted. I'm sure we can all relate to trusting someone or relying on someone you trust and they let you down. It makes your heart harder. It builds a wall, and personally, just from what I've gone through, now I struggle with trusting people. I have fairly difficult trust issues, especially when it comes to relationships, because I'm expecting to be let down. When someone trusts you, you gotta take that and protect it with everything. The foundations of a relationship depend on trust, whether that's a romantic relationship, whether it's a relationship with your parents, with your friends, with your dogs. You see, I mean, let's just look at animals for a second. Let's look at dogs. You see on those horrible adverts the way that dogs react to human beings when they've been abused their whole lives. They have that instinct to shut down, to bite, to get rabid, to get angry because of the way that they've been treated and because their body and their soul and their conscience is telling them, get away, that person's dangerous, that person has a similar pattern, or that person smells the same way, or acts the same way as this person that abused you. You've got to attack them, or you've got to get away from them, or shut down. We human beings have the same instinct because it's an animalistic instinct. It's an instinct for survival. So when someone trusts you, do not take it lightly. Do not take it lightly. It's a gift. And it's very rare now. Number 9. We're clocking up soon, guys. Okay, we're wrapping them up. Number 9. This one is a little bit more heavy, I would say. People are finite. This one, yeah, I guess is kind of a bit more morbid, but it does have a happy ending, as I promise. Um, Something you are more aware of but not prepared for when you get older is losing more people the older you get. To me, childhood is full of news. And by news, I don't mean like news you read in an article. I mean like new experiences, new friends, meeting your family. I mean like when you're very young and you're meeting these relatives that you never met before. Or maybe even re-meeting them and they say, oh, last time I saw you, you were a little baby. And you kind of think like, okay, I don't remember that. Like, it's like you're meeting them for the first time again. New school, new experiences in general. Not that we don't keep doing those things, obviously, we keep having new things, but you're so protected and have a sense of like innocence when you're a child. And as you get older, it's like, oh, actually, it is pretty common for people to get sick, or for people to get cancer, or for people to die around you. My parents joke that I'm almost a little bit serial killer esque and a little bit of a psychopath because death fascinates me so much. I've like picked up and inspected dead rabbits that I found in our field and held burials for them and funerals for them. I froze my dead chicken, like one of our chickens from the field. Um, my dog had attacked it and it died. And I brought it in the house and was looking after it as if it was still alive. This was recently. This wasn't when I was a child. This is something that I just do. I do this still. Um, and then put it in a bag and put it in the freezer. I've just I've always felt so connected to other living things, especially animals. And it's not like I would say I'm an animal lover. Like obviously I love animals, but I'm not someone that's like loved animals as in I want to work at a zoo, I want to work at a shelter. I have a unique connection to an animal in the way of death, through death. And I think maybe because death was such a big factor in my life when I was a young girl, um, especially with losing my dad at such a young age. I just knew about death and had to I had to understand what death was from an extremely young age. I've known that it's all around us, and things die all the time. Plants die, well, things, they're living. Come on, Lola. Living things die all the time. Plants die, animals die, people die. But as a child, you're so innocent and sheltered from that. And now, as I've gone older, I'm just so overwhelmed by how many people you can lose throughout your life and how quickly you can lose them. I've received some really crap news the past couple days. Um, and it does make you feel almost hopeless when you hit a wall like that or you receive bad news and get stuck in a rut. It can be so difficult to remember the good when someone you love passes away. It's so easy to think about the death of others instead of thinking about their life, if that makes sense. Like stop thinking about all of the amazing memories that you've had and instead you start thinking about what it's going to be like when they're gone. And you can't know the future and you can't change the past. All we have is now. The only thing that we have is right now. The next moment a plane could crash into my house. And I talk about this a lot in the last episode. I will talk about this a lot on my podcast. It's almost like a mantra of mine, I guess. But all we have is now, this moment right now. And it's so important to just drop the petty arguments and petty conflicts and fights that you have in your life, especially as a kid. Um, I think we just have a sense of petulance when we're children, and an argument that you're having could be seen as like the end of the world because you don't have such a longer life to put things into perspective. maybe you're arguing with your sibling, or you don't want to go around your grandparents' house because, I don't know, like your grandparents are boring or their house smells weird, and you like, I don't know what it is, like whatever it is for you. Maybe you don't want to spend time with somebody, but as you get older you realize how easy it is to lose those relationships, and you have to hold those relationships so close to you because they have so much meaning when you realize how quickly they can disappear. My advice to anyone listening now is to just spend so much time with the people that you love, and to pour into relationships that you have with other people. Human beings are finite, and we need to remember our mortality. Human beings are finite, and we need to remember our mortality. Although it sounds dark and it's quite a morbid take, you can shift the narrative, and that's how you shift your mindset to look around and think, oh my god, like, holy crap, look at the world around me. I'm so lucky, I'm so privileged, I'm so blessed to live the life that I do. And you can think of all the terrible things that are happening in your life, or the terrible things that are happening in the world, or you can think about all the amazing people in your life instead of wasting your time. I know because I spent years hating my brother. I'm okay talking about this now because we have spoken about it together, and he knows and I know that we had a terrible relationship. We couldn't even be in the same room as each other. And not only was that destroying my relationship with him, it was ruining my mum's relationship with us too. Because she was a single mum raising us, and we hated each other, and what is she supposed to do if she can't even get us to be in the same room and get us to love each other the way that a sibling relationship should? And that doesn't mean that you have to blame yourself when you have those petty arguments, because inevitably you're going to have arguments with people. You're not always going to be happy and sunshine and rainbows all the time. But looking at it with some introspect and looking at it from a future angle, at past me and little me, I would just tell her it's really, like, sometimes it's really just not that deep. Sometimes it really isn't that deep. And sometimes the argument that you're having isn't that important. Sometimes the feeling you're feeling is not as big and end of the world and, catastrophic as you are making it out to be. And you don't actually have to sit in that feeling and sit in that argument. You can let it go. We've spoken about this. When you realize how precious and how fragile your relationships with other people are, it makes you so much more grateful for them, and it makes you want to take advantage of that relationship as much as you can, in the sense that you want to spend as much time with these people that you love as much as you can, because who knows how much time we have left on this earth. And that's not to make you scared, that's to make you feel free. The only moment you have is right now. You don't know if there's future. You can't go back to the past, so all we have is right now. Right now. That is how precious life is, and you don't know what you have until it's gone. So be grateful and rejoice. Rejoice and be glad, guys. Number 10, wrapping up with a happy one because that one hit a little bit too deep, okay? Approach with light and love, and you will always excel. Trust me, it's foolproof. It's a foolproof plan. Trust me, okay? See where I'm going to go with this. It sounds easy, right? It almost seems a little bit too good to be true, but I can promise you, if you approach a person, a situation, a debate, an argument, whatever it is, from a place of truly love and being at complete peace, no matter what happens, it won't be a mistake. You won't have done something wrong. You won't have made a mistake. Say you're at work and your boss gives you a job to do, your boss gives you a task to do. You approach it with peace and love and light, but you do something wrong. Maybe you don't get something quite right. Maybe you put something in the wrong place. I don't know what it is, whatever your job entails. All you've done there is approach the job you're doing with your absolute best, approach with the intention of doing your best and feeling your best and being your best. You made a mistake and you learned from it. Let's take, maybe you're out of school. Maybe you're studying for this really big exam. I have been through this exact situation. You're studying so hard. You desperately want to do so well, and you're getting so stressed out about it because all you want to do is do well. You don't want to let anybody down. You don't want to have to redo the stupid test. You just want to pass, okay? And you're getting stressed out about it. Your cortisol levels are rising. You're getting anxious. You're having panic attacks. This is literally something that I've been through. So I know. Okay. You take the test. You fail. You are a wreck. Why have you failed? You tried so hard. You got so worked up and so stressed about it. You tried so hard to do well. How could you have failed? Girl, it's because you were overstressing yourself. You were stressing yourself out too much. You weren't coming at this test or this exam or this situation, whatever it is, from a place of light and love and peace. Being at peace means being okay with the fact and allowing yourself to be at peace with the fact that whatever happens will happen and you can adapt to any situation. That is being at peace. Being at peace is just being, just allowing yourself to be. Being overstressed about an exam does not sound like that, does it? They don't sound like the same thing. If instead you come at this exam or this test or this assignment you've got from school with a heart full of love, and love means patience for yourself, love means trusting yourself, etc. All of those virtues that we need to have as human beings. And coming at something from a place of light and peace, you know in your heart you will do your absolute best. You cannot expect more from yourself than your best. Hello, that's not biologically possible. If it wasn't your complete best, you wouldn't be calling it your best. All you can do is your best. You cannot expect yourself to be capable of doing more than what you're actually able to do. And no one else can expect you to do better than your best. That's why it's called your best. Hello? Let's say you come at this test from a place of peace and light and love and you fail. That doesn't actually mean you failed, you know. You do know that, right? It doesn't actually mean you failed anything. All you've done is strengthen your bond with yourself. You've learned that you can do something your absolute best and you can fail that exam and still have succeeded at something. You can still see the positivity in that. So what I'm saying is, my point is, if you come at a situation, no matter what situation, if you come at it from a place of love and light and peace, it will only be adding value to your life. Whether it goes the way you want it to or whether it goes a different way, it will only have been adding value to your life. And here is our bonus, okay? It's number 11. Life goes on whether they like you or not. People's opinions do not change the course of your life. No one else's opinions will change the course of your life. You do not know what other people are thinking. You do not know what they mean or the context when they say things, when they text things, especially when people text things, okay? There's no emotion in text, so you don't know what the emotion is behind it. And life is the same whether someone likes you or not. You're still going to be getting the bus every morning to school. You're still going to be having driving lessons on the weekends, whether that person likes you or not. It doesn't change anything. So why would you let it affect you? You know, I'm sat here making this podcast. I don't know if my best friends are secretly talking shit about me and like putting this podcast up at the school that they go to and putting it up on full blast and like taking the piss out of me and laughing at me and making fun of me. I don't know if they're doing that. I also don't know if my best friends are repping my podcast to loads of other people and being like, oh my god, look at my friend. She's so cool. She's doing this podcast that she loves. And I really want you guys to go watch it. It'll mean so much to her, blah, blah, blah. I would hope that's what they're doing. But I'm not going to spend my life worrying about what they're getting up to and whether it involves me or not. At the end of the day, that's actually kind of selfish. Like, that might be a little bit of a harsh truth to hear. But if you're constantly expecting everybody to have your best interest at heart, you're going to be sorely disappointed, okay? Whether my friends are supporting me in making this podcast or if they're talking shit about me while I make this podcast, I'm still sat here making this podcast. It's not changing my opinions. It's not changing how I feel. It's not changing the direction that I am gonna go in. And it's not changing the way that my life is gonna go. It's the exact same for everybody else. This is me, whether that boy will reject me. This is me whether that boy won't reject me. Do you really see the difference? No, because it doesn't make a difference, okay? It doesn't make a difference. If you allow other people's opinions to take control of your life and to take control of your mindset and the trajectory that you're going to take your life down, you will only disappoint yourself, and you will constantly be stuck in that external validation and needing validation from other people. When I say that every human being worships something, I literally mean it. Every human being, whether you know it or not, worships something. If you are worshipping external validation from other people, you will not be fulfilled ever, because you're constantly chasing that next kick of, oh yeah, I do like you, or oh yeah, you're so beautiful, you're so pretty, I wish I was like you, you're so skinny, blah blah blah. All of these things. You're constantly chasing something that you can only find from someone else, and it's almost like you feel like you're nothing without those opinions from other people. Who are you without those external opinions? You don't know who you are because you base your whole life and your whole self-worth off of those opinions. It's the exact same with any vice that you have: smoking, alcohol, drugs, sex, pornography. Any vice that you have that is a worldly vice, that means something of this world, you will not be fulfilled. Whether it's, if it's money and where you work, if that is what you worship, if you are constantly putting money and finance and working above everything else, and you live to work or you live to make money, you live for the next paycheck, maybe you live for your holidays, maybe you live for the weekends, that's what you're worshipping. Wouldn't you rather worship something that is setting you up for complete success no matter what? That's what got me curious in the Bible. And I'm not going to start preaching at you guys because I don't think everyone has to follow what I believe. I already have my own very unique opinions on certain things. I don't follow everything to its entirety. I like to pick from different things, and I have my very own unique beliefs. But it's so important that you pick the right worship, is what I'm saying. And life goes on whether someone likes you or not. If you're worshipping those opinions from other people, you will set yourself up for failure. I promise you that. I think not being at school has really helped me, mostly because it's made me realize, um, because I'm not surrounded by people my age all the time, I've been able to be a bit more independent and find out who I am as an individual, rather than feeling like I have to adhere to a clique or adhere to a certain group of people or fall in line or fit in, you know? Because who am I fitting in with in real life now? Like, there's 8 billion people on this planet. I'm not fitting in with anybody. I'm just being myself. And when you're at school, or when you live, maybe you live in a small town, it can feel like that is your whole world. With all of that being said, the only thing I can say is rejoice and be glad. Really, rejoice and be grateful. Be so grateful and so happy that you get to have this amazing life. Do not take it for granted. I'm so glad and so happy and grateful that I have this perspective now, because God forbid I only started to have this perspective at 30 years old. Think of all the time that I would have spent being sat in my misery. Remember, misery loves company. You're 100% responsible for your own life. All of these things that we've talked about, okay? You are responsible for your own happiness. You can be so happy right now. You can start crying from happiness right now. Isn't it beautiful that we get that decision? We get that choice, and it is a choice. I think the episode has kind of come to a natural end here. I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in this week. I'm really excited to get this episode out to you guys. And let me know how the mic is, guys. Let me know how the quality on this mic is, because it's new and I got it from Amazon and this is the first time I'm using it. I have tested it a little bit, but we'll see how she does on a long-term podcast app. So, have a great rest of your week. Have a great Saturday. Have a great Sunday. Have a great rest of your day. If you're listening to this on a morning, an afternoon, an evening, good night, good morning, good afternoon, good day. Have a great week. Have a great month. And you guys are not ready. You guys are not ready for the Christmas special that I'm planning. We're having a gorgeous, gorgeous guest on the show. And I'm so excited. And she is so excited. It's going to be amazing. Love you guys. See you next Saturday. Bye.